Hello everybody and welcome to Club Preview here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and I think this week we can probably be justified in calling it a club preview as we look forward to the first Old Firm game of the season, or maybe not, as the case may be for some. Firstly, I'd like to introduce my guest this season. First up, Scott Carney. How are things with you?
Yes, mate. I would like to say all good, but they never really are on the eve of an Old Firm because your mind is racing, mate. But no, thoroughly looking forward to it. I don't know if we can, really. There's a lot to get through tonight. I don't know if we can call this a preview of the Old Firm, but bear with us, listeners and viewers, because there might be some negativity to come, but we'll certainly end on a high note. I'll put it that way.
No, yeah, potentially. There will be a longer club preview, certainly, than there was last week, where we just kind of rattled through the Ross County stuff because there was so much to talk about. And I was looking through stuff today, Ryan, as well, and there is an awful lot to dig into. But, the Old Firm coming up, I think we'll get into a bit. How are things with you?
Yes, all good, mate. I am going through a stressful week because I've accepted an offer on my place. So I'm waiting on the chain going through so I can shift from this property. And of course, it's Old Firm week as well. So that is added stress to the week. So yes, hair is falling out as always, but happy to be here tonight.
No, that's good to hear that you've managed to get the house shifted. So good luck for the rest of that process, because I know it can be quite tough. As I say, or as Carney had mentioned as well, there's a few other bits and pieces to get into before we actually do look at the Celtic game tomorrow. Firstly, I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on the game against Queen of the South. Not so much the football side of things, because the team like information and you'd expect to see changes than I mean, that ended up running out comfortably 3-1. To kind of speak about was on the Carney had got confirmation from Rangers that they were getting press access for that evening. So Carney, now that things have kind of died down, you've had a few days to digest your experience, just tell all the subscribers and listeners about it.
It was bloody brilliant, so it was. That's a real bucket, kind of a bucket list tick. That is, I think know really till the last minute that it was happening, so didn't have much time to think about it. And then, it was happening. Met up with Ryan, and as I was driving to the stadium, the whole thoughts were going through my head of what are we doing here? We're like, because everybody will know, obviously, and I've said that a million times, we're not professionals. I'm not a journalist. I don't do written press. I don't do anything like that. We are just Rangers fans that do a podcast, and but from when we got there, I think me and Ryan were both kind of nervously excited. That's probably the kind of way to put it. Getting to the door and being like, do you just walk in? Like, do we not just walk in? Do we need to show passes? Do we not need to show passes? Very strange. But from the moment that we walk through the door, the service that you get, it's unbelievable. It really is. They're so generous to you. They really are. I know they're obviously doing it as well because they want to impress the press, if that makes sense. They don't want any negativity to be surrounded round by it, but you're took in no problem at all into the actual press room straight away, and we met Jim, who's now a follower of us, and Jim, I can't thank you enough, because me and Ryan were just kind of standing like deers in headlights, like Stephen Thompson walks past you, Chris Boyd walks past you, and I'm just standing with my eyes like, well, I shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't be here, but it was a wonderful experience, and it's a really nice thing for the club to do, because as I mentioned, we're not journalists, we're not professionals at this in any way, shape or form, but for them to allow the opportunity for this podcast to get in and do that, it was a real proud moment for me, genuinely. I know it sounds pretty cheesy, but I was really proud to do it, and really proud to represent the pod and having other pods talk to you and kind of that you wouldn't expect. You kind of expect that they don't know you. Do you know what I mean? And they don't know who you are, but they kind of are aware of you and what you do, and kind of the way it is when subscribers come up and speak to us on before the games and stuff. You're kind of like, how do you know me, kind of thing. But it was a real pleasure to do, and sitting on the gantry and having a conversation with Boyd like I'd known him my whole life. It was just a weird experience. It really was, but I cannot thank the club for doing it enough, and the experience, even just getting to sit in at the the presser at the end, hearing from Charlie McCann, the very bitter Queen of the South manager, I think, or a player, I don't know who he was. He came in and mentioned something. Was it the manager? He came in and mentioned something that the guy who scored was a Celtic fan. You're like, what are you doing, you absolute pleb? Get out of here. But then, when Gio walks in the door, all I remember from that is I was doing a wee bit getting the video ready, just on my phone quickly, just moving a few files about. Gio walked in and Ryan just gave me like the nudge as if the teacher had just walked in the door, and both of us just kind of sat bolt upright in our chairs, just like, but amazing, like genuinely superb to do, and I hope we get to do it further down the line, and we will get better at it, we will do different things at it, but I think I didn't want to overdo it as well, and selfishly I wanted to enjoy the experience as well. It's not you don't get a chance to do that very often, but no, it was, I could go on and on about it. It was superb. Even messaged Ryan the next morning going, did we do that last night? But no, it was class, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, Carney sums up an awful lot there, and it kind of reminds me back to the time that me and Ali got to go along to the press box for the Legends game. But I imagine that was probably an awful lot less stressful than what it would have been going along at the first time, because when Carney there mentions that, the feeling of nervousness and apprehension, me and Pearson definitely felt that as well. Did that add to your stress during the week, or was it better and made up for some of the stress?
I think it was good because I didn't know we were doing it until the kind of morning of the match. So, and then I was busy at work and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm going to presser tonight. This will be great. As soon as I picked my dad up, I was driving up the M77 and I said to my dad, my nerves are shattered here. Like, I am proper nervous. And you could see him look at me as if we're playing Queen of the South, get a grip. And I was like, nah, this is like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm sitting. I don't know who I'll be talking to. I was like, this is a totally different experience. And then when I met Carney at the car park, my dad was like, right, see you later. And it was literally like a parent leaving his son at the school gates. I was just like, where did I, like, and I'm looking at Carney and he's like, is that your dad away? I was like, aye. And we sat in the car, obviously did a wee vlog for the guys, for the listeners, and he summed it up perfectly. It was like first day of school, because we walked in there, and as soon as we walked in, all the pods and everyone, you could just see, everybody just looked at the door, and we were standing there, and the guy, Jim, again, thank you, Jim, he was great with us. He said, oh, you're the new guys, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, we're the new guys, yeah. What do we do? We don't know what we're doing here. And I very much I think we've discussed this before, I suffer from imposter syndrome. By God, my imposter syndrome was through the roof on Tuesday. I was just standing there, just the full night. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I don't deserve to be here. This isn't what I should be doing. But this is where the pod is, and that's the pod does deserve it. Whether it's me, you, or anyone, it's because of everyone that listens and supports us and does donate and gives us the likes and subscribes to the channel, and it's all because of these people. Because we are just like normal. The way I look at it is like, I don't see any podcast arrival or anything like that. I just see it as we just love talking about Rangers, and it's great that people like to share it. And it was a lot of self-satisfaction from it, and I have thought about it a few times since, I won't lie to you. I do hope we get to do it again one day. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you've enjoyed the experience, and a huge thanks also, like you say there, to all the subscribers, because these are the guys that have kind of put us in that position to do it, and also a massive thanks to Rangers for allowing us to come in, because they could just turn around and go, no, like Carney says, and you say, we're guys that don't know anything about the ins and outs of the actual process of this. But no, brilliant from them, and I'm glad you've enjoyed the evening, because the game wasn't really up to much, particularly in the second half. So at least it was a really good experience in that regard. But just very finally on that Queen of the South game, we obviously get drawn against Dundee in the quarter-final, the League Cup, which will take place around the 18th or 19th of October at home. So we've got that to look forward to. And this leads me to coming out of our accounts, and it leads me quite nicely into one of the talking points that we were going to discuss this evening, because we've not, obviously the way the fixtures fell this week, we didn't do a club deck corner, but the news broke on Monday that the ticketing prices and structure for the Champions League packages were announced by the club. And sort of main things to take away from it was there are 4 tiers ranging from £150 to £180. And then kind of the dates that you had to kind of get these done by, season ticket holders will have until this Sunday to get their ticket spot. It then goes on to the seat movers Monday and Tuesday. My Jars members will then be. I just seen that wee comment prop up to ask you a question. No, I will have the mic taken away from me. Yeah, my Jars members have got it from the 7th, and then the general sale goes on in the 12th. Right, let's get into this. This might be where the negativity comes into. £180, Carney. Far too high in my books.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive, isn't it? It's a bit on the high side. We'd actually heard rumours that it was going to be even more than that, believe it or not. And I was like, no, I don't want them to. I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to do that. Look, this is it's the problem with the club just now. And yeah, I've seen every side of the argument, mate. I've seen it's far too high. The club, but the club are also a business, and the club are trying to maximise the potential of it. I mean, hence the reason why somebody like, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen can charge 150 quid a show, because people will pay it, and it's all about what you will pay. Like car companies, an Aston Martin, for example, being 150 grand, it can be 150 grand because people will pay it. However, just due to what we're going through in the current climate that we are, again, I mentioned it in a tweet for season ticket holders that have been there through everything and the whole way down, didn't move seat, didn't stop back in the club, just to give them a wee thank you for letting us finish the journey. Would it have been so hard? Would it have been so difficult just to not make that extra bit of money? Again, it's all, I'm a wee bit of a hypocrite as well, because I'll pay it, and I know I'll pay it, and it's just the club are seen as too much as a cash cow now, and it's becoming more than frustrating. And I think I'm the one that's probably going to be the kindest about this all, because I can understand why the club do it, but it still doesn't feel right at times. It's too expensive. £60 for a game of football is too much money. It's just too much. And I don't understand why there's now been tiered. It's now tiered for what you pay. I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's right at all. Hold on to your seats, everybody, because Ryan is next.
Yeah, you'd raised a couple of points there that we'll probably dig into a wee bit more detail. But first off, Ryan, just your thoughts. I think we'd all kind of said to each other, maybe on here and privately as well, that we would expect about 150 quid. And even then we were going, that's a bit high. But turns out that's the lowest tier bracket that it's going for full adult prices. Your thoughts on the price overall?
Well, I wasn't happy at first, but obviously because I got a press pass, I think the prices are completely fair, and I think people just need to go on it. No, of course not. Of course not. Out of touch. Completely out of touch with the working man. Completely out of touch with the fans. Completely out of touch with what people are going through just now in the living costs, the rise of living costs. It's I'm so disappointed. Like, I was raging, obviously, in the group chat when it first came out, and it was my usual scattergun approach, and Rangers are getting it from every angle in the group chat. Now that I've calmed down, I'm just so disappointed in the club that they've gone down this route. I was speaking to a couple of people, a couple of my friends in the pub the other day there, who are quite close to a couple of board members, and we ended up arguing about it. And I was kind of like, I just think that they're so out of touch with the fans, and they show this with these prices we are taking for granted. I think the price, it's way over the top in terms of the price, but for no payment option to be available either. So I think I said to you guys, I'm paying my season ticket still. I chose to wait to the last minute due to certain circumstances. I chose to the last minute to renew my season ticket. So this month I am payment number 3, which was yesterday, which was £141. So I also paid £174 for my Champions League packages. That's circa £315. Now, I nearly cracked an ex-wife joke there, but I'll just hold back. That's a lot of money being taken out my account. It's more money than certain people take out my account every month, and it's just too much for a working man. If I had two incomes, and boo-hoo me, but if I had 2 incomes, I still think it would be too much. But you know yourself, Scotia, when you're yourself, that is a lot of money to pay, and £315 is too much for me. I will be flexing an overdraft to get there, and I shouldn't be needing to do that. And again, it feels as if the club are so out of touch with the fans, and I've always had this opinion of the club that they have the opinion of the fans. If you don't pay it, someone else will, and I think that's horrific.
Yeah, it seems to be that, and I think you put up a comment from Curry Muncher there, Carney, talking about people do need to take a stand, but people won't, because football is something completely different to other things in life. I think we've all been on record on here saying that stuff for Rangers will probably be the last thing that we'll cut out of.
Yeah.
Kind of spell it. What's the right word for that? I can't remember the right word off the top of my head, but that disposable income, that would be, Rangers would be the last thing that you would tick off that. There'd be other things coming off way before then. Yes, what you mentioned there, Ryan, about why can't they do it in monthly installments or 3 installments? I don't see how they can't not do that, because I think the way that the games work out is you've got the games in September, then you've got games in the start of October, and then games in November, so that you could spread that over the period of 3 months. So why are they not doing that? Just seems strange to me. Carney, I'll come back to you on this. When you mentioned here about the structuring of, or how they've done it within line with the season tickets. Now, me and Ali sit in CD2. He sits pretty near down the front of CD2, and I'm probably about 9-10 rows further back from him. He plays very slightly more than me in my season ticket, but not much. But the view, there's no difference in the view. But what I was thinking is CD4 is one of that areas where it's the highest tiered price. Are you telling me that the front of CD4 is worth the same value right up the back of CD4? Because I don't think you can see all the pitch from the very back.
That's the bit. I just don't get it, mate. I don't. It is so frustrating from the club, and even Curry's asked that question there. I don't even know where it went. Question for all people who pay. When exactly is too much before you make a stand? I don't know. I'm not. The club are very, very good at charging the top end, but not overstepping the line. Like that, they've obviously worked at this before. It's not their first rodeo. They know exactly what they're doing, so they'll not go. For example, if it went to £200, there would have been outcry, and I genuinely think people wouldn't have bought the tickets. There's no way it would have happened. But they're leaving it at 180. People were like, "Oh, it's really expensive. I'm really not happy about it, but I'm still going to pay it because everybody wants to be there, and they know everybody wants to be there." Do you know what I mean? Like you will struggle to get a ticket, and I understand again. I know sometimes we get criticised because we're lucky enough to have season tickets. I know there's people waiting for season tickets, and I'm lucky enough to have the ticket, and I'm still sitting here moaning that how much it is, even though I've just paid it. It's a battle. All of it's a kind of a battle within yourself, but the tiering, the way it's been tiered, this doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't get it. I think was it one in like the back of the Govan front is paying the same as the front of the enclosure, and you're like, and no offense again to people who sit at the front of the enclosure. Like I don't mean to be like that, but there is no way that's the same view as you get from the back of the Govan front. So again, it's one of these things that the club have decided to do. I don't know how much of an influence UEFA have in it, having to be tiered or whatever. I wouldn't imagine very much. I think there's probably a kind of bottom number that UEFA are expecting, and then everything else is really up to the clubs. But no, I can't say any better than what Ryan did. They are just so out of touch. Not with absolutely everything, but with stuff like this, it just. Yeah, the empathy and consideration really for us, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and especially just the amount of money that they take. It's hard, and I feel for people. I really do. To say I'm in a fortunate position that I can afford it. Yes, it's not exactly. It's not as if I can overly afford it, if that makes any sense. It's still a hit to me, and I pay my dad's as well. Just now, just well, the way things are, and yeah, it's it's not ideal. It really isn't ideal. But I just don't think things will change. So it's all well and good us having this morning. That's what Curry's saying. When do you take a stand? I don't know when you take a stand, because there's always going to be people that buy it. So, I mean, I would love to think the club will eventually listen to some form of feedback and do something, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today. I can't remember. I know there was once or twice they'd kind of given you like not a complimentary ticket as such, but there was a very heavy discount on like a League Cup game, or the League Cup game was put in your season ticket price. But it's been a long time since that's happened. And then also I was thinking today, and Ryan, it's because you brought this up a couple of pods ago for the PSV game. Obviously, BF5, everyone in their season books in there will be seat movers. They'll need to move because that will be given to the away fans. And I was looking at it, they'll get moved up to the back of the club deck. None of us sit in BF5, but are they going to pay the club deck prices, or are they going to pay the prices that everyone in the Broomlands paying? Because it goes from one end of the scale to the other with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I was them, I would be asking to pay BF5 prices, because it's not their fault that they are being moved. But of course, Rangers offered people £1 as a consolation, a £1 consolation. I don't know if that was for the club or whatever it was, but they offered them £1 anyway towards ticket prices. Unbelievable. But I just, it's so disappointing. It's the attitude of, I think the benchmark's been set now with these prices. I don't see Rangers doing any U-turn in terms of in the next AGM, or we go into next season and they have a reflection period and say, do you know what, we're probably right, let's look at the ticket prices. I think that's you now. I think this is the way it's going, and this is probably the least you will pay for a Champions League package. Again, unbelievably. Things will go higher, inflation will take over, and I've got to say that I'm giving Rangers a dig here, and they deserve it. But at the same time, we do have to appreciate, I kind of hate myself for saying this, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, but this board have put a lot of money into the club. They have. There is no doubt about it. They have put a lot of money, a lot of investment into the club when we have been on our knees. And I have a feeling, which this will lead as well onto the transfer market discussion we're going to have. I've got a feeling shareholders are looking for a bit of money back now, and they're looking to recoup some finances, because if you take into consideration money we've spent on transfers, on Steven Gerrard, on the stadium, which needed a lot of work done to it, a lot of maintenance inside and out. I just have a feeling, just the way things are going with our ticket prices and our performance in the transfer market in the past few weeks, I think a few shareholders are maybe looking to recoup some money back.
No, you're right. That's where we're going to go next, because I think that's probably where the anger still kind of stems from in terms of the prices is the transfer business, and particularly yesterday potentially. Just quickly before we move on to that, Ryan, you mentioned there that the prices of the Champions League gone up. They most definitely will, because from the 24-25 season, that's when you play 5 home games and 5 away,
right.
isn't it? So they definitely will. Yes, so into the transfer business. Oh, the joys of social media on transfer deadline day, boys. Before we get into it, just a quick summary of the kind of main ins and outs for us. So we brought in Davis, Yilmaz, Matondo, Jolak, Lawrence, Suter and Tillman for approximately about £13 million. And out the door has went Stephen Kelly, Bassey, Aribo, Itten, Balogun, Simpson, Hasty, Firth, Katic, Middleton. Zakowski's away on loan, but I think that's the end of him now. And then obviously an awful lot of the younger youth players have went out on loan, although expected that. And that was £29 million roughly that we brought in from that. So £60 million in profit, Ryan. The transfer window comes along. We're into the Champions League. Deadline day yesterday. What were your thoughts in the whole day?
Listen, I was like everyone. You want signings in, you want new faces, you want freshness, you want a bit of class, you want somebody at the front doors parading a scarf. Yes, let me be honest, I was disappointed that we didn't sign anyone. However, you look at us in January where we were desperate for signings, and Diallo and Ramsey come in and did next to nothing. We had a pod celebrating that Aaron Ramsey had signed. He did nothing. He did nothing for me. We just, we can't laugh at it, but I get the outrage. I do get it. some of it is wild. Like Rangers Twitter yesterday was absolutely having a meltdown. I think a lot of it is stemmed from the ticket prices. I think there's frustration there. I think there's frustration that we trailed Celtic so early on in the season. And I also think there's an element of our support which this annoys me because I don't think this is our thing. I think there's an element of our support that are looking over the city too much. Yes, they are bringing people in. Yes, it does look as if they're strengthened, and yes, they are battering teams. However, throughout my time following Celtic, they've always been an attacking team. They always have. They've always been the team who score the goals. And that's just the thing that they do. They play this brand of football. They call it the Celtic way. I don't really care. The Rangers way is winning trophies, and that's what will matter at the end of the season. If Giovanni van Bronckhorst is happy with his squad, I trust that he's got it right. I trust that he believes when this squad are fit, that he's addressed the problems which were defending and keeping the clean sheets last season and also scoring goals. If he thinks he's addressed that, then we need to all get behind him and stop bedwetting for extra signings to come in. If the quality wasn't there to bring in, then it's not there, and we need to just get on with it. I think, was it David Johnson made a great point about, sorry, this just off topic, slightly off topic, about the financial fair play thing as well. I have a funny feeling that he is correct in saying that we need to become a sustainable or UFO hammers by 2025. We've been making losses, significant losses every year, and I think that's coming into the thought process because Champions League is not guaranteed every year. A UEFA Cup final, a Europa League final is not guaranteed every year. So we have been very lucky with our income the past 2 years. And I think that's come into consideration as well by this board. We need to be sustainable. Yes, it's nice to float about these shiny new toys on deadline day, but they don't always work. And we need to just get some hard work done and get that title back. So that is my thoughts.
Yeah, I did actually see the fair play stuff come in just before we started recording, so I didn't have time to actually look at that in much detail. But yeah, I do know that it's a concern, and I did listen to Andy McGowan, who was in the Heart and Hand daily update today, and he's really well into his accounting and finances and stuff, and he explains it really well. So if anyone follows him or listening in the Heart and Hand podcast, he gives a really good explanation of how it all works, because us Muppets don't know things like that. Carney, Ryan makes an awful lot of good points there. I think if you were to ask me after we'd signed Yilmaz, were you happy with the transfer business we've done? I'd have been like, yes, really happy so far. The reason that I was maybe slightly disappointed wanting to centre midfield in yesterday or after we'd got that qualification, it's probably down to the fact that Jack, Kamara and Davis have all been rotated, and none of them's really claimed that midfield spot next to Lundstrom. But what were your thoughts on the day as a whole yesterday, or the window as a whole? But does the deadline day in fact just sour it for us and make it the way that they market it and stuff?
Well, yeah, that too, because you want your name, you want your team's name on Sky Sports on deadline day. I get that. Look, Ryan's kind of summed up exactly how I felt about it as well. The window overall has been good. There's no doubt that it has been good. We've already seen that it's worked. I mean, Lawrence is working, Tillman is working, Cholak is working. Yilmaz, as I say, Ryan fell in love with him on Tuesday night, so he will come good. I don't think there's any great doubt in that. I think he's a real talent, real one for the future. Okay, Matondo hasn't hit the ground running. Davies is somewhere. We don't really know where he is. Training with, I've not really seen him. So yeah, I still think I'm not I whatever European competition we were going to fall into, be it Europa League, be it the Champions League, I expected there to be a kind of budget there to be like, oh, X amount you're in Europa League, you've got X amount if you get the Champions League, in order to go and spend it. Now, I'm the same. I do think we need still think that we need a central midfielder, and I do think, from what I've seen in Matondo so far, and I'm not writing the guy off because I've been wrong many times before, but he hasn't exactly hit the ground running like I just said. So I would have expected a wee bit more from that area, if I'm going to be ruthlessly honest. But Rangers on deadline day, it's kind of like being on a night out with Ali. That's what this is the way I've kind of summed it up. So you get there, everything's really good. Even the transfer window as a whole, you get there, everything's brilliant, everything's great. I was like, it's all good, but we're having a laugh. Get around in, I get around in, and then all of a sudden, it's Ali's turn to get around, and Ali's not there. Where's Ali? It's Ali's turn to get around. It's like being out with that guy that doesn't buy around. That is basically it. But you don't hate him. Ali doesn't do that.
In Mexico.
I'm only winding him up. Ali doesn't do that. I'm only kidding on. It's only because he's not here. But it is like that. It's like being out with that mate that doesn't buy around, but you know he doesn't buy around, and you don't hate him for it. You just kind of go on with it. You get frustrated at it, yes, but you still get with him next week. So, do you know what I mean? It's one of those. It's a perfect way to kind of sum it up for me. I was still disappointed there was nothing, but I didn't waste my time sitting refreshing Twitter because it was made clear pretty early on that we weren't going to do anything. So I put my phone down last night and I enjoyed my night with the family and didn't even bother looking. And even when I woke up this morning, I had a quick check to look at Twitter, seen it was in bedwetters everywhere, and I thought, nah, I'm not even going to bother because I knew that it wasn't happening. Obviously, no notification from any of you. The board live or die by this. I do get these loans, these things that are outstanding with shareholders that they are looking to recoup some of their money, some of their investment, and they have invested a lot. I do completely understand that. However, short-term memories a lot of fans have. So put it this way: if tomorrow goes horrifically wrong, I fear the worst for this board. I really do, because it'll just be, it will be savage. Honestly, it will be. You'll not be able to look at any sort of social media because it'll be full of it, absolutely full of it. I appreciate this board. I appreciate what they've done for us. Would have I liked a wee bit more? Yes. Do you know what? Actually, sorry, I'm going off on one here. Do you know what really got me? Do you know what really got me last night? It was blatantly clear we weren't going to sign anybody. And we get an email from Rangers Store asking you to spend more money so they couldn't invest in a player. No, don't, come on. Read the room, man. Read the room. It might be for an old firm or not, but read the room, honestly. So, yeah, it is disappointing. It is disappointing. But there is a lot of other things behind it. It's not just Ross Wilson sitting on a big pile of cash, just flinging 20s up in the air so they come down and hit him in the face. It's definitely not that. But I'm happy with the business that we have done. I am. I think we do have players still to come back, yes, but we'll see. They'll live and die by this decision, I think.
Yes, no, thank you very much, Justin Muir there. I just see that something's popped up, Carney. If you could do that, that's very much appreciated. You don't need to do it, but we love the fact that you do want to contribute and help us continue to grow. Stop me from doing any more bloopers. I'll take some elocution classes or something like that. But yeah, my final thoughts on the transfer window is, you know what? Overall, I'm pretty happy. Was a wee bit disappointed yesterday, but thinking about it today, I'm like, well, the agents and things like that know we're in the Champions League, so they're going to be demanding Champions League wages for their players potentially. And like you say, Carney, we'll live or die by this through the coming year, because you can never judge a transfer window really until the end of that season. And we could, hopefully, we will win the league this season, because we could find ourselves in that situation that we were in this year, that we've got 2 qualifiers to get into the group stages yet again in the Champions League if we do finish runners up. Right, before we get on to the preview, everyone, that's us about half an hour in, so you know what it's time for. It's time for our Manscaped promo. So time for a word from our sponsors, Manscaped. Our friends at Manscaped just brought the Ultra Smooth package to Europe. Everyone knows by now that the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best electric shave for your balls. But if you're looking for a closer shave or prefer to go completely bare down there, then the Ultra Smooth package is the perfect set. It's time to shave that bush of yours and get right to the roots by going to for 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22. The Ultra Smooth package is a specialised shaving kit to help you buff, protect and smooth your most sensitive areas. It includes crop shaver razor, crop exfoliator and crop gel. So the crop gel, if you're ever interested in putting a wee mohawk in that thing there, you go, lads, that's for yous. The Manscaped Ultra Smooth Package is a 3-step kit to make your package the perfect package. It's time to get up close and personal with the best tools for the job. The Ultra Smooth Package from Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. Smooth out your fellas with the new Ultra Smooth Package from the fellas at Manscaped. Guys, what will your balls do?
Your balls will thank you, mate.
Right, who had 35 minutes for the blooper? I'm pretty sure 35 minutes was the blooper there. I think you said cock cropper.
You did say cock cropper.
Which obviously is the animal. The animal.
Oh, class one. Oh.
It won't do that Ultra Smooth Package. It will not crop your cock.
No.
See the diagram. What are the chocolate Maltesers? What are those?
I don't know. Hang on, let me see, where is it?
It's chocolate Maltesers. What are these chocolate Maltesers?
I think that's representing your man vegetable, mate, I think.
Okay, I need to get myself checked out at the doctor's then, because mine's look completely different to that.
Mine also don't look. Why is that? Hang on. What's that? You're a good point. Look at the way he's lying in the bath. Like. Anyway, sorry. Thank you, Manscaped, for your continued support of the podcast.
Yes. So let's get on to the main thing that we're here to talk about, and that's the upcoming Old Firm game tomorrow at Parkhead. Gio had his presser today. Main things to take away for it in terms of the upcoming game is that unfortunately Lawrence, that injury that he took in the very last minutes of the Ross County game, or they pulled up with, looks like that he's going to be out now until after the international break, which is the 21st to 26th of September, something like that. So he's out to then. Gave us a further update in our longer term players out. That includes Davies, he's training like Carney mentioned, Roof's close, and then John Suter and Phil Hollander look pretty longer term, so I'm expecting October, November for them from that, and Haji's where Haji is. So that was kind of the main things in terms of the game that Gio brought out of his presser. Did you have any thoughts on that in terms of Lawrence, Ryan?
I don't. It's so disappointing that Lawrence. I was hoping it was a rumour, Scotia. I really was hoping it was a horrible Twitter rumour, and Gio was going to come out and say, "Nah, he's fit, everything's fine." Lawrence, for me, is just starting to settle in, just starting to look like that player that we wanted. See the effort he had at PSV, which everybody forgets because we done the business. So, but that effort he had where he just shuffled the ball from out and then curled it and it hit off the crossbar. That's what I want to see from Lawrence. Yes, I think he will be a loss tomorrow, and a loss, and he misses a lot of big games for us. So very disappointed that he's going to miss tomorrow, but do not panic is the message from me. I don't think it's a case of, Tom Lawrence isn't playing, so we have no chance tomorrow. Not at all for me. He is a big loss for us, but Rangers have got enough depth to cover him. It's just he is a big player for us, and he's just beginning to settle in, so he's definitely going to be a miss over the next couple of weeks.
Yes, Carney, that was a blow to me as well with Lawrence. Your thoughts on Lawrence, and as well, there was something that popped up that this must have completely passed me by this week, that seemingly Tav wasn't training, was one of the questions that got asked. I didn't realise that.
It's Old Firm week, mate, innit? There's always something. When Alfredo Morelos was fit and firing, it's Alfie's going to be out for the Old Firm. There's always something. And I was just saying, mate, I really was hoping more than anything that Gio was going to say, no, Lawrence had a wee knock, but he's going to be absolutely fine. But for him to be missing's a real gutter, because I really like the lad. Really do like the lad, and everybody knows how much I like giving Alistair Pearson credit, but he was spot on with Lawrence. When I remember when we first linked with him and in the group chat, he was like, he'll be a player for us if we manage to get him. Like, he's a really good player. So yeah, I am absolutely gutted about that. The Tav one is that rumour, is that Old Firm rumour, like, Tav's injured, but he just wasn't injured. There's nothing wrong with him. Do you know what I mean? He's trained. Like, even Gio was like, I've heard the rumours and all that. But no, I think Lawrence is a blow, mate. However, I agree. I don't think there's any real need to panic. I think we've got enough players in there. I believe in Gio and what he's going to do and how he plans to line up this. I think the old cliche of what happened to us in January, will never happen again because Giovanni's learned a very, very harsh lesson that day, and who he can trust and what shape he can go with. And I think he'll be. I think he'll just fine. It is a blow, but it is what it is. We don't complain about stuff like that. We're not going to use that as an excuse for anything at all. We just knuckle down and get on with it. That's the Rangers way. That's what we do.
Yeah, I am for the preparation for this today. I was going to force myself to sit down and watch Ange Postecoglou's press conference to the media today. It was 16 minutes long, so I swiftly decided that was not getting done. So I quickly just seen they've not got, in terms of their squad, I think they've pretty much got a fully fit squad in comparison to our squad that seems to be always injury laden. But they've got off to pretty much the perfect start in the league this season. What's that? 5 wins, 21 goals, 1 goal against. Does that give you any concern going into the game tomorrow?
I'm not just saying this for staunch points, Scotia. I really am not, but no, it doesn't. I think Celtic, Postecoglou deserves credit. He does, because he's came into a new country. He's recruited well by the looks of it. He's won trophies in his first season, and they play attacking football. They go for the juggler. They go attack, which I think you should do against these teams in Scotland. However, Celtic have not really played any level of opposition for months now. I think since the last time they played us. And for me, the last 3 Old Firm games, Gio's had his number. Gio's had his number tactically. I do believe that. I think the 2-1 game at Ibrox was a sore one to take for us. I think we were a bit lacklustre that day. We took the lead early. I think it was Ramsey that scored. We huffed and puffed a lot of crossing, a lot of attack, but we didn't really do anything with it. If we get that kind of possession and that kind of service into the box, for me, Cholak's clearing that kind of service up. We were crossing balls into, was it Kmart Roof? I believe it was. I think that's who played at Ibrox that day. I just think there's something different about Old Firm games. I believe that Van Bronckhorst has learned a lot from the game in January or February, whenever it was. I think he got it wrong that day. I think his tactics were wrong. I think his team selection were wrong, and I think the players' attitude was wrong. And it was just one of those nights. It was coming. They were flying, and they hadn't beaten us for ages. And law of averages, as the Cancun loyal would say, Ali Pearson. I believe that they were always going to win that game, unfortunately. But I do think that Rangers have enough in the tank. Yes, they're battering teams at the moment, and it must be lovely to be doing that. But 1-0 is as good as 9-0 in this league. That is all I will say about that. Rangers are in a good position. They are. It's not ideal that we drop points against Hibs. It's not. But if we win tomorrow, we go top of the league, and I believe Rangers can win tomorrow. If we play football in their half, like we did the last time we went to Parkhead, you think of that goal Sakala scored. The passage of play between Arfield, Sakala and Ryan Kent was one-touch football. Their defence were getting cut up. Their defence is there to be got at. I do rate that big Vickers guy, but he's not the be-all and end-all. He's not a Van Dijk standard of player. He's there to be got at, and so is their defence. And I think if we play football in their half, we can definitely do this tomorrow.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Carney, one of the things that's getting kind of made as a point in the sort of mainstream media and things like that is it's free flowing Celtic, free flowing, free scoring Celtic, but they're always like that, particularly against teams that aren't us. Every season, the last few years, they've always managed to cuff teams. Yes, they won 9-0 against Dundee United last week, and winning 9-0 at any level is a brilliant achievement, really. But it was a club that was in complete turmoil with Jack Ross, and given the result against AZ Alkmaar, you think sometimes that form against the other teams in the SPL gets given a wee bit too much credence going into the Old Firm games.
100%, mate. Form, I've said it, and it's something I genuinely stand by, even though it's an old kind of fashioned saying. Form means nothing going into an Old Firm. It really doesn't mean anything. It's all about the day. I know that's a wee bit old fashioned, and the Old Firm is not the same intensity as it used to be. It's not you've not got a team full of Rangers fans and a team full of Celtic fans basically going to war. It's not really like that anymore. But there's obviously still always going to be the needle there. But I do think form is kind of relevant, and I'm not. Even with blue tinted glasses on, I'm not sitting here trying to pretend that it won't be a tough game, as if we're going to just steamroll over the top of Celtic. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it will be a tough game, but I've got every belief in if we play our best, no matter who our starting lineup is. I struggle to see their defence coping with it. They're a very attacking team, and yeah, they did play. I watched the highlights back of their game, and you can actually see see either the second or the third goal that they score. You can actually see Dundee United just chucking it because they know Jack Rowe, he's getting sacked. 100% he's getting sacked. So they don't care. They just wanted to go off the pitch. Though at that point, it's a fantastic achievement, yeah. And the way they played, yeah, did them really well in Europe last year. Oh no, hang on, that was us that got out of the Europa League final last year. Sorry, my mistake. So yeah, I mean, I'm never confident going into an Old Firm. I'm never overly confident going into an Old Firm, that is for sure. But I'm not conforming to the hype of the Scottish media or Celtic fans themselves that believe that they're going to absolutely come here and they're going to cuff us at Parkhead. I'm not buying into that at all. I think this team are going to be well and truly up for it. I think we've got a few players in that team that are going to play a massive part tomorrow. I did have Lawrence as being one of them. I thought Lawrence would be very crucial, but I think the best on earth. I think he's a massive reason that this midfield, the kind of powder puff midfield that they do have, there's nothing in there that John Lundstrom, in my opinion, cannot deal with. He dealt with Veerman. He's much better than pretty much anything Celtic have to offer. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and I just think there's no need to believe the hype. We'll see where the dust settles tomorrow.
No, I get you, Matt. This is the one game of the season, really. Well, one of two of the season that is most comparable to games in Europe when we play Celtic at Parkhead, because they'll have an awful lot more of the ball. And for me, I think, see if we can approach this game like we would approach Europe, like we approached the PSV game in the second half, keep the ball, be composed, stop them making any attacking threats, I think we'll be fine and dandy, if I'm being honest. We just need that team to show up, because sometimes they haven't shown up in league games. The occasions occasionally got to them, if I can do that, say that even. Before we get on to our teams and scores, just one thing that I picked up on as well was the article on the BBC website that was talking about, the Old Firm games are going to decide the league and things like that. Before I give my opinion, Ryan, would you go along with that way of thinking?
No. I think I texted in the group chat last night. I worry more about Rangers than them. I really do. I genuinely do worry more about Rangers than I do about them. I think there's an element of our support who are looking at these 9-0s and 5-0 too much for them. I think we can win Old Firm games. I feel that we tactically are on top, and with the likes of John Lundstrom, who didn't play in that game in February in the midfield, I think that we've got the fight in there in the midfield as well. Old Firm games don't give the fear. Ross County away gives me the fear. Aberdeen at home gives me the fear. These are the games I think if Rangers can perform in the Old Firm games and get that side of our game right and start winning those games, which we were drawn last year, then I think we can win the league. I think that's where it falls for us. Maybe for Celtic, the Old Firm games they can win the league, but for us, I don't look necessarily at the Old Firm games as where we'll win or lose the league. If that makes sense. I don't know if that sounds a roundabout way, but I think you understand what I'm getting at. I think it's other teams that I'm more worried about and how we perform in those games.
Yeah, Carney, would you go along with that way of thinking if you get a different take on it?
No, I agree. Obviously, the first one of the season's never going to determine the league winners. Is obviously not ideal. The fact that we would go we would go 5 behind if we did get beat tomorrow. But I agree with Ryan. It's not. It's Livingston away and Hibs at Easter Road. It's the ones that are like they're the ones that are like, don't do our Rangers, please don't do our Rangers. Just go win, do what you need to do. And I think tomorrow, I mean, put it this way: if we win tomorrow, it'll be Masons, it'll be conspiracies, it'll be everything. It'll be everything. If we get beat tomorrow, it will probably get a wee bit feisty towards the board if we're not maybe investing. If that's the way it's going to be, that's probably the way it's going to be. But I don't think we'll blame conspiracy theories, nor will we concede the league. And if you are going to concede the league at this point, there's not really much point, is there? I mean, you might as well not bother. You might as well not turn up. There's a long way to go, and that sounds like I'm making excuses, and I'm really not. I always say I always think an Old Firm game's 50-50. I generally do. I think there's. I'm trying to think of one that I've been to where I thought, no, we are going to do it today. Oh, the last one of the 55 season. That was the last time that I went when we played them. I thought, we're doing them here. So there's just no way that we're not going to win this, and we did. So yeah, that's the only time. Everything else is just 50-50. Look, it's horrific. I'm already starting. I'm rambled tonight because I'm trying to hide my Old Firm nerves. Do you know what I mean? It's already started. But no, I don't think the league won't be decided tomorrow, no matter what. But it's the other games for me with Rangers that we need to take care of, not the Old Firms.
No, I wasn't getting onto the fact that tomorrow decides the league or not, but I think the point that the BBC article was making, that was those 4 Old Firm games in the league, whoever comes out on top of that should be the league winner. But for me, that's not the case. What they won twice, drew one, and we won one last season. 4 points between it. But those 4 points, like we mentioned all the last season, off the top of my head, Hearts, Ross County, was it St Johnstone or Motherwell? Last minute goals that dropped, we conceded 2 points from it. So we don't do that, then we're fine. It's the other teams. It's like Hibs the other week, 2 weeks ago there. It's that last minute goal that kills us. And unfortunately, at this point in history, they seem to be the ones that will score last minute goals and we'll concede last minute goals. So the sooner that changes, the better for me. So we'll finish up with our teams and scores. I seen that Ali had sent his team in. So his was McLaughlin, Tav, Goldson, Sands, Barisic, Lundstrom, Jack, Tillman, Wright, Jolak, and Kent. Didn't give us a score, so he's not getting any points if he gets the score correct. He doesn't put that comment in at the time.
He'll do it right. He's going to do it right now, mate. You guarantee he's going to do that right now.
Ali's just texted me there, and he's went for 3-0 Celtic. Shocked at that.
Has he? Well, that's a bit of a shock. That's a bit of a shock. Yeah, bit of a shock.
Right. My team, just I'll get mine out of the way. My team's the exact same as Ali's, except I've got Kamara in for Jack, hoping that Kamara can actually put in a performance in an Old Firm game, hopefully. Although one thing, Carney, I'll come at you for your team, but one thing that came out of the presser as well, that Morelos was in the squad, and obviously by Lawrence being out, I was like, oh, is this my chance to get Morelos on that right wing to fit him into the team? Probably not, but give us your team. And I didn't give my score. Actually, sorry, I'm going 2-1 Rangers. I nearly done an alley there. Yeah. 2-1 Rangers with Cholak to score first. Sorry, on you go.
The wee cheapskates popped up in the chat, mate. 2-1 Rangers, Kent first goal, guns it. So there you go. You can mark that down. Well, look, you don't know by. Have you ever seen Mike Bassett, the England manager? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Right. See the bit where he goes, England will be playing 4-4, bleeping 2. Generally, when I heard Lawrence was out and Morelos was in, that's all that went through my head. I was just like, Rangers will be playing 4-4-2. Look, it's never going to happen, but it was one of them rush of bloods to the head, I think. I think the only real debate for me just now is who plays alongside Lundstrom. I think the rest of the team will pretty much pick itself. So I'll go McLaughlin, Tavernier, Goldson, Sands, Barisic, Lundstrom, Tillman, Wright, Cholak, Kent, and playing alongside Lundstrom, couple of years ago I'd have picked Ryan Jack, but I think he'll probably go with Kamara. Because I don't know if Jack will last the pace. However, I wouldn't be shocked if Steve Davis starts as well. But I'll go Kamara and I'll go 3-1 Rangers. Cholak to score first and Morelos to score the third goal.
Excellent. That would be really enjoyable. Ryan, your team scores?
I'm going McLaughlin, Tav, Goldson, Sands, Barisic. I'm going midfield of Lundstrom, Kamara, Arfield, and the front three of Kent, Cholak and Tillman. However, Tillman I don't believe will play on the right. I think Tillman will drop more central and let Tav bomb up and down as he is good at. I feel as if he's been kind of had the handbrake on him a few times recently because Matondo, right, whoever's been playing on the right-hand side, I don't think he's been getting it up and down the wing the way he usually does. But I think he'll be given that licence tomorrow to get up and down because Arfield will be there to kind of fill in. So, yes, and I think Arfield will definitely play. I can see him playing tomorrow. And I'm going 3-1 Rangers, and it is highly time that John Lundstrom scored against them. So he is getting the first goal tomorrow. Don't get booked, John. Don't get booked.
I was about to say as well, sorry, Scotia, I was about to say, Sands will start at centre half. Sands will get booked. If you're doing a coupon, Sands will 100% get booked tomorrow, just so you know.
Hopefully it's late on in the game, though, so that the nerves don't get even worse than they're starting to get now that we've kind of just discussed that. But yeah, that'll do us here tonight, nearly at the hour mark. Firstly, we'd like to thank everyone for joining in the comments. Thank you to Justin for his very kind donation. You don't know how much it means to us, guys, the comments you make, the donations that you are willing to give us. It's so humbling, and we're absolutely pleased with it. And yeah, can't thank you enough. So before I round off, I'll just say final goodbye to my guests. Firstly, good luck for your team tomorrow, Ryan Haymarch. Yes,
good luck for your team as well, mate. Well hosted. Echo what you say. Thank you very much, Justin, for the donation and everybody for the comments. I hope everybody enjoys the game. Don't bedwet. Don't panic tomorrow. Don't freak out if it's not starting well. Just stick with it. The world is us beaten, and we know what we can do when the world is us beaten. So play up the famous.
And finally, a goodbye from you, Mr. Carney.
Yes, tolerance and sanity. Is that what you say, Ryan? Tolerance and sanity. Yeah, it's the eve of an old firm, mate. It's the first fixture you look for at the start of the season, and it's now upon us. Now, as I say, I don't expect any Rangers team to go out and win every single game. Maybe I do, but I've still got a bit of a grasp of reality that it won't happen. However, tomorrow I think all Rangers need to do is play their A game. If we play their A game tomorrow, I don't think they'll cope. No matter what, no matter where you're watching it, enjoy the game as much as you possibly can. Back the team, and remember, it is the first game, the first Old Firm game of the season. There is a long way to go, and I'm not making excuses because I believe that I think we could be in for a rather enjoyable Saturday. So yes, I hope everybody's team wins tomorrow. Justin, you're a legend for donating, mate. Cannot thank you enough for that. Play up the famous Glasgow Rangers. We are the people.
Indeed, that's 7:30, so it's time to get the tunes on and the battle fever on, everybody.